Can you hear me fine? Hi, good morning everyone. Excellent. So I'm going to take a few minutes just to talk about basically the learnings of my journey. I've had the opportunity of building a couple of startups. One of them was Zomato, from a search and discovery platform of finding the restaurants to go to the Zomato that you see today. It was a very exciting journey, full of challenges, of course, as all of us go through that on a daily basis. And after that, I followed another passion that I developed in health, and now I'm building a new startup, which is by the name Gabi, and I'll talk about that as well. And again, the learnings across both these times have been slightly different, and that's why it all comes together beautifully. One of the questions that I get asked the most is, what is the moat of building a successful business? Yeah, what does it take to build a successful business? And I think after years of building, reflecting on what's happened, the biggest moat of building a good business is actually execution. You take any idea. If the idea is good, it will be taken up by 10 or 100 other people. If the idea is not good, it will not be taken anywhere. But I think the biggest factor where, and look at food delivery for that matter. Food delivery as simple as take food from restaurants, deliver it to customers in time. Yeah? The idea is as simple as that and can be done by anyone. But given the fact that it was the execution that mattered, you saw the whole journey of so many startups starting that whole journey, but in the end, only a few players actually did well in that space. So I think that's been one key learning for me in terms of how I see building and what it takes to build a successful company. And if you just link to that what leads to that good execution, it all boils down to like having a great team. Yeah. And again, when you talk about team, we talk about a lot of things, but again, the question that I keep getting asked is, how do you build a good team? Like when you look for someone to build a company with you, to build a startup with you, to build a mission with you, yeah, what do you look for? And again, I think my attempt is always to like to simplify to one or two things that we can actually really focus on to get to the right answer. And there, what I found very useful is asking the question for the person in front of me, if I get this person on board, will this person build this mission, this startup like their own? When they're faced with a challenge, when they're faced with a decision, right, will they actually act as if it was their own startup or their own mission? And if the answer is yes, mostly, then I think that's a great, not a good, that's a great person to get on board. Yeah, and I think that is very helpful. The reason, of course, Zomato also did well, and I think was because that we actually were very, very comfortable putting audacious goals in front of people. And I know we talk about that a lot, but I'll tell you, you put a goal in front of people, and that is a starting point. If you don't have a goal which is audacious, there's not even a starting point. Yeah. And I think I'll give you an example. And even in that, what is important is a lot of times we make the mistakes of putting goals in front of teams that we believe in. But guess what? The team doesn't believe in it as much. Yeah. Have you come across those instances? How many people have come across those instances on a regular basis? That you believe in something and the team doesn't as much believe. And what happens to those goals? I don't think those goals ever get met. Because one person can never achieve those audacious goals. So I'll share a bit of an example. So when we were operating only in 15 cities in Zomato, and we wanted to expand and take the opportunity to much larger number of cities, which is 500 cities in India, we said we want to do this in the next 6 months. 500 cities in 6 months, right? So it started with putting that audacious goal in front of people. And what was the reaction mostly for the team? What do you think was the reaction? Any guesses? Not possible. Anything else? Any other words? Too fast. Anything else? They said you're crazy. We said yes, we are, but we want to try it. And what happened was we still put it out there. We knew that, of course, there was not as much belief as we had that we could do this. But what happened was in the first month itself, the team was able to scale 50 new cities. That's almost 2 cities a day, by the way. And when the team looked back at that, they were like, we were able to do 2 a day. So maybe we can now do 4 a day, right? That is where the belief set in, right? And from there on, nothing else was required. The team on their own actually, of course, scale it up, put it together. So I think that's a classic example of how you put a audacious goal in front of you. You still have to stay the course when everybody doesn't believe in it. Yeah? But after that, you have to have a process where everybody who's going after it believes in it. And the first belief starts with just basic trust, right? As a team, we trust each other to actually take the right call. So I think that's been very interesting. Just taking on from there, and I'm sure all of us make a lot of mistakes while building businesses, right? Or while taking decisions. We cannot be perfect. But I think what makes it different is that once you've made a mistake, accept it. Do not live in deniability. Accept it publicly if you have to, if it makes it easier for you, right? And once you accept it, once you relate to it, once you reflect on it, then act like there's no tomorrow. Absolutely. You have to correct it ASAP. When we started building Zomato, we were doing the restaurants were doing delivery of the orders in the beginning themselves. We didn't have a delivery fleet to do that. And we realized that we had actually made a mistake for a year and a half, because the kind of customer experience we could deliver with having a network of our own would have been really, really high. And once we realized that, we actually put everything behind it. And you know where Zomato is today. I'm sure a lot of people here use Zomato and have an experience with Zomato. And I think once we realized that we had to change something, we just moved very, very fast. And I think that is very important. The one other theme, again, from that journey that I want to share is there is no substitute. Whether you are a small startup when you start something, or when you're actually even a big startup, or a publicly listed startup like Zomato is today, that the people who are building it, running it across levels, have to be in touch with customers almost on a weekly, daily basis, in some form and shape. And you have to find your own way of doing that. A lot of times what happens is, as we scale, we get so caught up with so many things that talking to customers or understanding what's happening on the ground becomes very difficult. It doesn't become, it's not easy to do, or we don't find time to do. But I think that is not good. So for example, my biggest learnings used to come when I used to essentially be able to go deliver a few orders. It was just mind-blowing as to how much we learned. For everyone, for restaurant partners, for our delivery partners, for our customer experience team. Everywhere we could able to identify what needed to actually be done better. So again, honest request to everyone, always find time, and in the beginning, have process, calendarize this in your calendar, force yourself to do it. Force yourself to do it to a point that it becomes subconscious behavior for you. Very easy to understand is, we've all learned, or most of us have learned how to drive a car, right? When you start to learn to drive a car, it is a nightmare. You're like, I have to take care of the people in front of me. I have to actually look at the driving steering. I have to look at the clutch, the brake, all of that, right? Today, when you've actually been driven for some time, do you have to think about these things? You're playing with 6, 7 variables at the same time. That is what is conscious behavior. Do it multiple times to make it subconscious behavior. So anything that you think is very important for you to build a business, build a mission, make it conscious behavior by forcing yourself, to the extent that it becomes subconscious behavior where you don't have to think about it. So if I don't hear from customers on a regular basis now, on a weekly, daily basis, I get uncomfortable. I think something is missing in my life. Right? I think that's very, very important. And to summarize this part of the journey that I'm talking about, we all go through multiple challenges while building a mission or building a business, right? That's always the case. And what is important is that you, even though it might be the most difficult for you, right? You show up every day. You have to show up every day. There is no other choice. Yeah? And I think that makes the entire difference. And I think the most important thing that I found there in showing up every day to build something is the passion that you have for what you're building. If you don't have deep passion or connect in what you're building, it will be very difficult to actually go through the journey. Isn't that true? Yeah? And And I think, in fact, to the extent that when we were, of course, starting food delivery, like 7, 8 years back, there was hardly any online food delivery in our country. Do you remember how you used to actually order food? Call up the restaurant, right? So when we started doing this, people said, why do you think people will download an app, order online from an app for a 300, 400 rupee order, you will deliver it in one single run, and you think you'll make money out of it? There was a lot of skepticism. Yeah, there was a lot of skepticism. Of course, we didn't understand, like nobody understood the space, but actually we had a lot of belief. And by the way, we didn't have all the answers when we started. We discovered the answers as we got along. But I think it was the belief that we can actually do this that kept us going till the extent that we went. And today we are actually at a place where, has it become subconscious behavior now to order food online? Almost. Yeah? So I think it takes a lot of perseverance, a lot of effort, a lot of belief to actually do this. And I think that's what I would suggest, that reflect deeply that what you're building, are you super passionate about this or not? I think it has to stem from there. And I think my second journey actually started from, again, a similar point where during COVID, it forced a pause in all of us, right? Or in all our lives. So I used to travel a lot for work earlier and didn't have a very regular schedule to say. But in COVID, everything paused. It was just a pause for everything. So I fell into a good rhythm of just working out regularly or playing whatever I wanted, was eating more healthier food, sleeping better, yes, not on flights as much, and my health dramatically improved. I lost 15 kgs on me, so I was not like this pre-COVID. I lost 15 kgs on me. My metabolic age was 49 when I was 39 years of age. Today I am 43 years of age, but my metabolic age is 35. And it just blew my mind as to what these basic pillars of health, fitness, nutrition, sleep, which we all neglect, and stress, managing stress, they are the fundamental pillars of health and the fundamental pillars of longevity or healthier life. And when I went through that experience, I said, at the right point, I would love to build for this mission a company or a startup which can actually do this for millions of people. Help them live healthier and longer. And that's where Gabbit was conceptualized. Gabbit, any guesses what does Gabbit stand for? Any guesses? Excellent, you made my day. So, health is all about good habits. And why should there be 2 words for good habits? If there was 1 word for good habits, it will be Gabbit. So that's how we coined Gabbit. And the mission of Gabbit is to enable everyone to live healthier and longer. And that's another thing I would like to share as a learning from this, that whenever you start something, have an audacious mission in front of you. Like that is what sets the tone of what you are going to build. And that is very, very important. And the second learning I'll tell you, and again I'll just relate you as to how this whole, so for the last 2-3 years I have conceptualized this. We went deep into, if you want to solve for this mission, how do you want to solve for it? And guess what? We figured that health is interconnected. What this means is, if you want to achieve any health goal, like weight loss or staying fit or healthy skin, you need to actually impact fitness, nutrition, sleep, stress, all of them, and they all feed off each other. Good sleep leads to good workouts, to better fitness. Good nutrition leads to all of this. So they all interconnected. And that was mind-blowing for us. So Gabbit is a platform built on this thesis of interconnectedness of health, where we have tracking available for people. We have subscription plans for fitness and nutrition for each of these goals, like weight loss and healthy skin. And we also have products. So it's a full stack health platform. But I think the thing I'm trying to share here is that when you're starting to build a mission, go deep into understanding what are the first principles that define, let's say, health. And the first principles are that they all are interconnected. They all come together differently. So if you have any goal to play, like even healthy skin, if you go to a dermatologist, what is the first question they ask you? Not what you put in your face, they actually ask you, what do you eat? Right? But if you look at solutions around you, they're not focusing on this interconnectedness, and that was really eye-opening for me. So that's what we're doing. The second first principle that we realized was that tracking, you only improve what you measure. Yeah? And tracking is very, very important. How many people actually track any of the health markers here, like through any of the wearable or anything like that? Yeah? And I think if you track it, if you look at the trend, you actually understand whether you're getting better or you're not. And that's why we have very, very strong focus on. So that's also great. Whatever works. There is no one answer for all of us. I believe that customers should do whatever they feel is the best thing for them. So from a tracking perspective, we actually built our own first wearable, which is our Gabi smart ring. I'm wearing this. We believe this is a very good form factor, very discreet. Don't have to charge it for 10 days. I can sleep with this easily. It's a ring, most of us are used to it. And again, we said, when we build this, how should we build this? And we went back to the same first principle. We said, health is interconnected, the 4 pillars are important. So we've actually bolted on all 4 pillars of health onto this wearable. So it doesn't only track sleep, it tracks sleep, stress, all your fitness, and it also tracks essentially part of your nutrition. So if you log your food on a platform, because we are a full stack platform, it calculates a full calorie in, a full calorie out, and probably this is the only wearable in the world which actually gives you a calorie balance for the day. Did I take in more today or did I actually spend more today, which is such an important thing for us, right? So that's what we're trying to do with this. As I said, we said, then we went next and saying, again, always ask customers, what are they looking for? What more are they looking for? So I don't think only having tracking is important. Some people also need help with that in terms of what's the right food to eat, what's the right fitness to do, how do you do workouts, and actually do workouts with them. So we said we will extend this, and now we have coaches, coach-led plans to actually help people with their goals like weight loss or staying fit and healthy skin, so that people can actually understand the data as well as go through programs with them. Yeah. The other thing I like to share when you're actually building something is, as you go on this mission, you always have to prioritize. Yeah. You always have to ask yourself, what are the most important areas that we should go after? Yeah. So when we looked at this, and of course there's a lot of data around this, but I think data is one part, but 2 other parts are very important. Talking to people is important. Don't underestimate that, because data can be misleading sometimes. And you should also have a gut feeling about what you think is right. Triangulating all these sources actually probably lead to a right answer. So we realized that if you want to solve for health meaningfully, weight loss or getting to the right weight is very important, because that is a starting point for all the diseases that come after that. We realize that people also want to stay fit. People who are even fit today, they still need to understand how to take it to the next level. And another interesting thing that we found was that just healthy skin is also a very, very important part of our own health. We don't think of it like that, but skin is the largest organ on the body. The largest number of doctor consultations globally happen for skin concerns. Did you know that? I was mind blown when I actually read that. And we said we have to do something about this. If we have to stay true to our mission of enabling everyone to live healthier and longer, this has to be part of it. So we went ahead and actually built for this. But again, as you can imagine, there's sometimes a different answer to each aspect, and you have to contextualize the answers. So when we were thinking about solving for healthy skin, we realized that the most important point there to start a journey is actually having great quality products. So we launched India's first skincare range infused with superfoods, prebiotics and probiotics. We spent 2.5 years building these formulations because we really wanted to make a good impact, and they're doing amazingly well. And the learning there is, if you take our wearable or if you take our products, we actually spend a lot of time building them. So you have to spend a lot of time researching, building, and putting in front of customers high quality products, but which are affordable. That's the mantra to actually build a large scalable business. And that's what we're doing right now. So these have been, I've tried to relate to the learnings I've had through both the journeys, and I hope that was useful. But the one final message that I'll share is that have tremendous belief in what you're building. You will not have all the answers when you start or even during the journey. That's perfectly fine. but keep striving to find those answers as you get along. And if you keep showing up every day, if you keep playing the game, you will get to where that mission should get to. Yeah. So really glad to be here, and wish you all the best in terms of whatever you're doing. Yeah, thank you very much.